What's up guys, welcome back to another video. Sorry for not posting in a very long time, just been really busy with work and also rebuilding these two back there, rebuilding the Stinger and rebuilding the Acura. They're both done, but yeah, I didn't record either of them just because they were rush projects. But we're back with this thing. So you can see it's in the air, and for very good reason slash bad reason. So long story short, we ended up putting a brand new engine in this speed. Ended up busting the oil pan at a meet one time about a year ago and put a hole right about here on the old oil pan. As you can see, this thing scrapes quite a bit and the engine seized up. So this is a brand new refurbished engine, so pretty much brand new, everything's new, camshafts, everything, all of it. But the reason why it's taken apart right now is because the oil pan keeps leaking. I've resealed it about 3 times with the timing cover and the transmission, you know, on the car and whatnot. There's not enough room on the sides to be able to take it off and put it back on without scraping none of the liquid silicone. So took up the timing cover, that's why it's all taken apart, and we're gonna redo the oil pan. But as you can see from the title of this video, this is gonna be the initial step to the beginning of power gains on this thing. Yeah, turbo is leaking oil, is burning oil. Second freaking turbo that we've done on it. This is the original one from the car. You can see that it's all wet still, even though I did this like maybe 4 months ago, 5 months ago. Anyway, and then put a new used turbo from Marketplace. Not a good idea, but it was supposed to just get me by until I can afford the big turbo, and it blew before I could even afford the big turbo. So we're doing it early, I guess. So yeah, so this oil pan has been a huge pain in my butt. I've resealed this thing, I don't know, like 8 times probably by now. That's how we ended up taking apart the freaking side of the engine just to do it properly. Hopefully there's no leaks. And sealant of choice is gonna be Honda Bond, just because it's good stuff, and RTV's RTV. But yeah, I'm gonna start cleaning the surfaces here and there. I'm just gonna put it back together and then start pulling off, probably start pulling off the turbo once the engine can hold its own weight. So I do need to get the timing cover and the engine oil pan cover back on so that the car can just hold its own weight, or the engine, I mean. Yeah, let's just get it done because this is a stupid huge pain. And if you haven't done so, in the link down below, you're gonna see my TikTok. I have been putting out and pushing out a decent amount of videos on this thing for TikToks. So if you like cars, if you like speeds, if you like bright flashy cars, go follow down below, show that support, por favor. And yeah, just give me any ideas if you guys have any ideas of what I can make a TikTok on these. But yeah, just go follow. Alright guys, well, I'm not sure if the audio was picked up. I just noticed that the camera was recording a little weird, but just in case if it wasn't, got the turbo out. Pretty much you got one banjo on the top two coolant lines, one at the bottom, one at the EGR back here, and then the one that goes to the block that is the drain. Pretty much, at least for me, the way that I was able to do this is let go of the downpipe, let go of the bracket on the engine that holds the turbo, and then let the turbo drop in there, so that way you can get all the manifold bolts, because honestly this thing sits way too close to the manifold, and some of the bolts is like, how do I even get to that, you know? So yeah, anyway, manifold, broken turbo, another broken turbo, new turbo. Side where the exhaust side touches the cartridge, that's where it was leaking, and that's where it was getting oil all over my cats and the exhaust and whatnot, and burning. And then it was also pushing the oil through. So, and this one has quite a bit of play as well. Oh yeah, you can hear it. We got the turbo pretty much assembled right now. This is where it's at. So pretty much the little tiny one that has no like mounting bracket, which is this one that has the mounting bracket. That one you don't use. You reuse this one, and then the BNR comes with its own feed line. I believe this is the feed line. And you might have to bend it just a little bit, just because it might not clear this housing 100%. So I just bolted it on, just ever so slightly, not torqued, not tightened or anything, and just bent it a little bit, tighten, bend, tighten, bend, and repeated that until I was able to torque that bolt down and it's not touching anything, because I don't want it rubbing. And same goes for this bottom one. So there's nothing touching there. Has a pretty decent gap, but enough room, or at least close enough to the compressor housing that you can still put the drain tube on. There's a B. I'm gonna have to get a new hose. I don't know what to do with it. So the hose that is for the coolant feed is way too small, the stock one. At least with how mine's set up, for whatever reason. It's supposed to be plug and play, but for whatever reason it's not. So I'm gonna need to either bend this line right here a little bit so that it's closer to the EGR, which is right there, or just get a longer one, which I'm just gonna get a longer one. I don't have the wastegate or the turbo little compressor nipple plumbed to anything, because I'm still waiting on the boost controller. So if you guys are doing one of these guys as well, so top top nipple goes to intake manifold, behind the manifold, and then the bottom one down here goes to the PCV valve. So this is what it's gonna look like. You can get this through Damond's website. Alright, so got the 3.5 bar map sensor adapter, license plate cover that Edge gives you, grimspeed, boost controller, and Damond PCV plate. So we'll put the PCV plate next after the sensor, and then after that sensor, or after the PCV plate, we'll run the lines from the catch can to the PCV and to the intake manifold. Then we can do the intake, or the intercooler, and then finally we can do all the buttoning up, and I think that's pretty much it. So let me get that sensor changed out, and then we'll go from there. You're gonna get a new O-ring that goes in here first. You're gonna put this in until it bottoms out, and then you have a snap ring, that little chrome part right there that holds the PCV valve in place from coming out, and you can move it at any orientation. I put a little bit of oil just to help it, you know, seat properly, not roll over, and also if I need to spin it. Need to torque these down. I'm gonna torque these down to about 18 foot-pounds and call it good, and then we can go ahead and slap this back on. All right guys, well, got the PCV plate on, torqued it star pattern little by little to 11 Newton meters, so that's all torqued down. So now what we're gonna do is run the lines prematurely, so that way they're there for the catch can. Catch can's over here. You got one hose that's just blank, or not blank, but just a hose. And then you got one hose that comes with like an elbow and everything. This one goes to the manifold. This one goes to the PCB. So, like I was saying before, the PCB can swivel, so you can orient it however you need to. You're gonna reuse your stock clamps for the stock locations and use hose clamps for the catch can location. So let's do that real quick. Don't really got anybody here to help me hold the camera or anything, so I'm just gonna do it and then I'll show you what it looks like. Alright, so I got the manifold back on. I put the elbowed one on the manifold. I put the straight one down there, and I kind of just ran them both. Let me see if I can get you guys a better view. Kind of just ran them both right on top of the oil cooler right here. I'll zip tie them to something a little later so they're not rubbing, but as of right now they're just like that, and then they just come straight out here and into the catch can. Alright, well, after like, I don't even know, like an hour of freaking fighting this thing, I just loosened all the clamps over here, except for one side. So left that one tight, left this one tight, loosened this little corner elbow. I loosened the top where it connects to the turbo. And honestly, I just went ham. I just bent the hell out of this and pulled it as hard as I can until this hole down here by the transmission lined up perfectly. You have to make sure that lines up really good. That is an aluminum case. You do not want, I rather destroy and damage this and destroy and damage the threads on the car or on the transmission. So I'm a little out of breath, but anyway, so now this is solid, this is solid, this is all solid. As far as will it hold up to the test, we will find out once the car is running. But I'll leave the front bumper taken off. I'll leave it just like this, so that way any hose clamps blows or, you know, anything that happens, easily accessible and whatnot. Plus I still gotta go do an alignment, so I need the bumper off anyway. All right, well, after doing that, blow-off valve fits with almost a finger room of space. So yeah, I'm gonna start connecting all the evap hoses and all the vacuum lines and whatnot, and then we'll start routing the boost controller once we're done with that. This is the car all done. Just gotta connect the battery and whatnot, but for the most part it's all done. everything that has been complete so far. Catch can is plumbed, PCB plate, map sensor harness. I ended up putting my boost controller up here. So I'm gonna put the wheels on and I'm gonna flash the tune from my tuner that he sent me. He sent me a base map just so I can drive it around and get it to the actual dyno. And then once I'm in the actual dyno, then they'll do a tune refinement. But as of right now, we'll do that and call it a day. But that's it for today's install and today's video. Pretty much everything's done. Next video, you know, will be the tuning session at the dyno and doing a couple pulls, telling you guys how it feels and telling you guys how I like it. So yeah, long story short, thanks for watching. If you like this kind of stuff, you want to see more of this kind of stuff, please hit that like and subscribe, and be sure to follow me on TikTok. This car is doing very well on TikTok right now. I'm making a lot of videos on it, and it is doing very well. So just go support the channel at Spunka Builds on TikTok, and yeah, that's gonna be it for today. See you on the next one.